Hey guys, welcome. This is Brad Krantz. Wednesday morning here, April 15th. Good news. If you didn't send your taxes in, you're okay. I know we don't even have them started yet. So that's good. Tim, did you guys do your taxes yet?
Yeah, we did our taxes,
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
April 15th, and we actually got our stimulus check today. So
Wow.
instead of sending them money, they sent us money.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey guys, I've got special guest on here today. Senior Pastor Tim Knight from Highline Christian Church, where we just happened to attend. And we're going to be talking about why a mentor is a must or why it's important. Tim's kind of got some things going there, but I wanted to get a pastoral perspective on mentorship because, one, I don't think it's very widely accepted or understood. Tim, what's your thoughts on, most people don't have mentors. I posed the question yesterday. Some people like, well, I've been fine in my business without anybody, and I don't get that. What's your thoughts on mentorship, and why is it important in general? Why people don't have a mentor?
I think it's vitally important. I think Jesus himself taught the importance of having a mentor. He called disciples to himself to follow him and learn from him and be like him. I just feel like it's a little bit naive to think that I know all I need to know inside my own bubble.
Hmm.
And I think we've seen examples where there have been pastors or leaders in general who don't have mentors, and they end up becoming emotionally and unhealthy, and kind of maybe their own little dictator, or operating in ways that they think is right, but they're not getting any external input, and
Hmm.
so there's no pushback, there's no evaluation or criticism in a positive way, and so they
Okay.
can't move forward.
Okay. So how long have you had a mentor? How long have you understood that that's something important for you personally?
I think we all have mentors. We just may not call them that. You know,
Mhm.
when we start off as a child, it's probably our parents, and then maybe our coach or our teacher or our youth pastor or someone like that. So I
Okay.
think we have mentors. We just may not recognize the real true role they play in our life. But about 2 years ago, I've been at the church now this summer. I'll complete 25 years. And I came to realize that I need a different perspective because I'm in this kind of isolated bubble of my people and my church and what I do and what I've been doing for years. And I need somebody outside myself, who's not in my circle, to speak into my life and
Okay.
to challenge me and encourage me in ways that I wouldn't have thought of.
That's awesome. So how have you benefited from, I guess you call it a life coach. How have you benefited from that in this past 2 years? What's a couple ways that stand out for you right now?
Well, one very particular way is the church went through a time where we had an issue with a staff person, and this life coach had some experience with that in his own background, and he was able to walk me through it, talk through it. I think the real plus of a good life coach is they don't just like give you the answers, like say, okay, I heard your thing. Here's what you're to do. Write these 5 things down. Go do it. But they really ask good questions,
Hmm.
and they allow you and the Holy Spirit to kind of wrestle with it together. And then after they've asked a good question, they ask another good question. And they
Okay.
just keep kind of delving deeper. And so probably the best benefit I've received from my life coach is someone who asks me questions that I don't even know I should ask myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, leaders ask questions. I think good leaders ask good questions. So I've got four questions I'm going to throw at you here. No curveballs or anything like that. I know you're a baseball fan. I'm not missing anything with baseball not taking place. So don't pelt me. Kind of what you just said is mentors can see where we need to improve where we often cannot. That's kind of what you just said there. They've got some perspective, can see things that we're kind of blind to, maybe some things we're doing or not doing.
Yeah, because they come from their own perspective, right? They don't live my life, but they do live a life that's similar. And in a sense, I chose my life coach. I don't think you should just choose a mentor kind of out of the phone book and just kind of pick anybody,
Right.
because just like you can deceive yourself and tell yourself stories that aren't really true, if you have a life coach that doesn't have the same faith system or value system or priorities that you do, they may lead you even farther astray than you could lead yourself.
Yeah.
So having someone with the same foundation was important to me,
Hmm.
but someone who has experienced life, maybe some similarities, but not the exact
Okay.
same thing,
Okay.
and could talk about how their life and my life paralleled and were different.
Okay. So kind of somebody, you want somebody that aligns with your, and hopefully if you have core values, they align with your core values, right?
I think that's crucial.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
I kind of vetted my life coach.
Okay.
Um, he has some cred. He's an author. He's a pastor. He's a church planner. He's a father. He's a husband.
Okay.
He's a speaker. I've read some of his work, and so it's not somebody that I just kind of said, "I like your name" or "You'll do." And so that gave me some confidence and assurance that I could invest some trust in him.
Okay. That's great. So another question then, mentors offer encouragement, help keep us going. How have you seen that true in your particular life or your situation as pastor of a large church?
I think my life coach has believed in me when I wasn't sure I could believe in myself.
Hmm.
Sometimes you walk a path that you've never walked before, and you're not sure, especially the way I'm wired. I'm kind of always questioning myself, is this the right thing? And maybe I should do this or maybe that. And to kind of bounce it off someone that can validate and not be afraid to challenge, but validate when you're doing it right. It
Hmm.
just gave me some empowerment to move forward and see what God would do.
Awesome. That's great. How about the question or looking at mentors or trusted advisors? It sounds like that's kind of your situation. You did some due diligence in choosing one, but a mentor as a trusted advisor, what are your thoughts there?
Well, in terms of trust, one thing that's huge for me is confidentiality. Um, I think most of us have our own circle that we kind of operate in. And if the problem was within that circle, how do you talk with someone in the circle about the circle? And so trusting for me meant being able to say anything I needed to say, not just
Hmm.
random gossip, but anything I needed to say, knowing that my mentor doesn't know those people. So he's not in my world, but he understands my world. You understand?
Yeah.
He's not in it, but he understands it. And I
Okay.
can say whatever I need to say without filter so he can have the full picture because I know he has my best interest at heart and really the interest of the people I'm dealing with as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, got one last question here. So mentors, and you kind of already alluded to this, they have experiences that you can learn from to prevent making the same mistakes beginners make. So I remember the phrase something like, you don't want it, you don't want to have to make your own mistakes. You want to learn off the mistakes
Right.
of others. So I think that's kind of what they're saying is they give you, you talked about already having a situation at your church where your mentor had a previous experience. So you didn't have to try to go through it on it. Or it's like walking through a minefield, right? You want to
Right.
follow somebody that's already been through it if you can.
Yeah, he had a little different experience. I've never planted a church. He's been a church planner. He's slightly younger than I am, and that was a little bit of a hesitancy in choosing him because he's about 10 years younger than I am. And but he's in a sense farther down the road. I believe that a life coach or a mentor, however, what term you want to use, needs to be someone who's kind of like a Paul. I talk about someone's Paul, their Barnabas, and their Timothy where Paul is farther down the road. Barnabas is someone walking with you at the same time. And a
Mhm.
Timothy maybe is looking to you as a mentor. So in my case, my mentor, my life coach, is someone who he's human. And I love that he's not like this guru in the ivory tower who's figured everything out. And so
Yeah.
he was able to share with me how he's experienced similar things and maybe they didn't go well or maybe they went well. And so I can like not repeat his mistakes, but I can copy his successes.
Yeah.
And so he's been vulnerable with me in ways that was refreshing. So I don't feel like a total louse,
Yeah.
but also share with me how not to step in the same minefields that he stepped in.
Amen. That's a good thing. So, Tim, one kind of last, I guess, what would be your parting wisdom on? We've talked about kind of shortly why a mentor is important, why it's a must. What would be your recommendations or parting wisdom to those that are out there listening to this or will tune in and catch it later?
I think especially for men, it's hard to say, I may need some help because we're like pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps and I'm not going to share my problems with anybody else. And we have that me by myself mentality. And I think I would just say get beyond that. Don't be so prideful that you think you have it all together yourself, and just recognize the true value of having someone like a mentor who will love you and know you and speak into your life, because it's blessed me.
Awesome. Well, Tim, thank you so much. And again, everybody, Tim Knight, Senior Pastor at Highline Christian Church, thank you so much for joining me today, Tim. I appreciate your time and sharing some wisdom with us today, okay?
Glad to be with you. God bless, Brad.
All righty. Bye-bye.